Well, here it is. The fabled car VW brought back from the dead in '08, but left it in the grave for us here in the U.S. Thanks for that. We get a few days, though, for an afterlife experience. Let's drive this 2014 Scirocco R. No, still not coming to the U.S. And check the tech. Now, I loved the first generation car. One of the best things Giorgetto Giugiaro ever did. Here is the new Scirocco, very different. There's hardly a corner on the whole thing. And notice the restraint this car has. Most little cars, when they want to get sporty, get really gaudy. They really try hard. This one doesn't care if you notice it. Very subtle, but a design you don't see a lot in the U.S. Sort of the short butt, long, low, sleek hatchback. The kind of cars we just don't buy here very often. Maybe that's why they don't bring it here. Now, while the Scirocco looks real different on the outside, it doesn't look unfamiliar at all on the inside. You've seen this VW design language in just about all of their cars, especially in the Golf. A couple of nice crisp gauges up there. This being a Euro car, it's kilometers only. You've got these VW controllers on the wheel for volume and changing some of the displays in the center of the dash. Head unit, this is, I think, the top of the line model right here. It's got navigation, optical disc, SD card. The way you do your portables is via one of these MDIs, they call it, a multi-device interface. I'm not crazy about it because I'd rather have USB than have to go by proprietary pigtails all the time. And you know, I hate the fact that you can't actually put your portable in there and close the door. But what really matters in this car is the driving hardware. It starts up here with a comfort, normal, or sport selector for your suspension. This is an adaptive suspension you've got in this vehicle called the DCC, Dynamic Chassis Control. It runs independently of your drive modes. This is a dual clutch DSG gearbox. In Europe, it's also available with a 6-speed manual. Back for drive, one more detent for sport, up and over gets you into a manual gate that holds to redline. And this is going to be a key part of this vehicle's personality, especially when you've got a small turbocharged motor. Your gearbox has to be really good because the engine can't just grunt its way through any situation. Now notice when I put this guy in reverse, all I hear is a bunch of beeping because we've got an optical sensor system in the back. Interestingly, the R model does not seem to be available with a rear camera. I think other Sciroccos are. It's a weird little omission. But that kind of gets us to the theme that this vehicle has very little in the way of driver assistance. There's no blind spot detection, there's no lane departure, there's no adaptive cruise, there's just cruise control. This is actually a very simple car, even loaded. I was tuning around the radio here and it just races through all the frequencies because it uses a bunch of odd numbers. So when I tried to get to 740 KCBS here in San Francisco, the best I could do was 738. Station list.
There is no station list for the AM band available.
She would beat your ass over a school bench if you said the wrong thing to her. Love that. Now, under the very low snoot on this car, you've got a very nice little motor. Compact, yes, 2-liter, inline-4, sitting side saddle. TSI, it is a turbocharged motor. Direct injection, variable valve timing, of course, all the usual modern tricks of motoring. The numbers, 261 horse, 258 foot-pounds of torque. Nice torque number because of that turbo in there. You're sitting side saddle and driving the front wheels only. Big differentiator from a Golf R here in the U.S., which would have all-wheel drive. This guy does not come that way. 5.8, 0 to 60 for a car that weighs about 3,170 pounds. Don't have a really good translation of MPG from Euro standards to U.S., but a Golf R, for example, gets about 1927 with a similar layout. You know what happens when I drive this car? I hate it. Because it reminds me what we don't get in this country. Really sharp European cars that are not sports cars, but are more sporting than a lot of sports cars, if you know what I mean. 3 things you come away from in this vehicle. First of all, best implementation of a turbo I think I've ever driven. Secondly, when you're in sport mode on this DSG, at least for my taste, it shifts exactly as I would shift it. And the linearity of the steering I find real good. I'm not sure if it's variable or how it's mapped. All I know is it feels right in every part of the clock on just about every radius of turn. I really enjoy driving this car. Okay, it's a little hard to price a car. They don't sell here, but let me give it to you in pounds sterling. And don't just do a currency conversion. It doesn't work that way with cars. 28,000 pounds for the Scirocco R with a manual 6-speed gearbox. That maps roughly to where a Golf R is in the U.S. market, so we're in the rough ballpark. It's held back only by its lack of 4-wheel drive for today's modern purist. but this is a vehicle I would buy if they brought it here. Maybe.